It's Panda time! Greetings and welcome to smartwatchtics.com. Inside this box, I've got the ROGBID PANDA PRO. Yes, it's a beautiful watch, and it's got all of the bells and whistles with 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage, 1.69-inch 450 by 450. I know you want to see it, so we're going to jump into it. Let's open the plastic wrapper around it. Being that it is China Olympic time right now and they're giving out pandas to all the medal winners first, it seems so appropriate that we present to you for your Olympic consumption the Panda. Wow! Wow! Look how big this puppy is! Oh my goodness! I've seen the pictures, but until you've seen the real deal, oh wow. Okay, I got to take a breath and show you how you can get this puppy. It's a Banggood product. We got it coming to us from our great support agents at Banggood, the ROGBID PANDA. And yeah, all the bells and whistles. Look, a 13 megapixel autofocus camera on it. No wonder 1600 milliamp hour battery inside of here. Wow, you could power your home with that, I think. What else? Let's look at the overall spec sheets. A typical Android smartwatch. Look at this, 5 ATM waterproof. That's not typical. That's serious waterproofing. 20 different sporting modes. Barometer, altimeter, GPS, of course, built into it. Bluetooth 5 we're looking at. Operating system is Android 7.1 / Android 10. Wow, looks like 2 configurations. The 3 gig, 32 gig is on Android 7, and the 4 gig, 64 is on Android 10. Did not realize that. Well, we've got this one, so we'll look at it from an Android 10 perspective. 8 megapixel front camera, 13 megapixel side camera, using, of course, Y-Watch 2, which is one of the older and not as sophisticated tethering apps for your phone. We're hoping someday those will be improved, but all of the Android watches are pretty much suffering from the same issues. Here's our size, resolution, 450 by 450 is great. About 10 days in power savings mode and 2 days in full Android mode with a 2.5-hour charge, typical. Again, 5 atmosphere waterproof. Interesting. Of course, you got all the different formats for video and for audio and all these other functions, which we'll see as we tear into it. Not tear, but dive. Okay, dive is good, being it's 5 atmosphere. Wow. Wow. Am I like, I don't know, maybe I'm too close to the screen. This thing looks huge. It looks really huge. You got to take the back off, I presume, to get to the SIM card. Speaker, microphone, 1 button. Inside the box, in addition to all of this, wow, it looks like we got another set of bands. Really? Okay, this is a leather on this side and rubberized on that side. So when you want to dress up with this one, you can change out the TPU rubberized sports band for leather band. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's an ordering option. Double check on the buying page if you can get it with 2 bands configured, or if it comes that way, or they just threw that in here for the review. I'm not sure. Something you'll have to check out when you order. There's a little screwdriver for taking the back off to get into the SIM area. Nano SIM is what works with it. Now, I can tell you right off, they do not, this one and all the Android watches now do not Bluetooth tether to your phone. So you can't set it up to get a call coming into your phone and answer it and speak to the person from your watch. But you can put in a separate phone number on a SIM. In certain countries, and maybe in the USA through T-Mobile, you might be able to get a mirrored SIM so that the watch and your phone would ring at the same time, and you could answer either from your phone or your watch. You have to check that out. No assurances that will work. You got the little magnetic coupler. By golly, it's strong enough to hold that huge watch. That's amazing. That's your charger. And we have another box. Yeah, it's got stuff in it too. Are you ready for some more surprises? Oh, another wire attached to, oh, the charging dock. Of course. We've got the separate charging wire, and then we've got this charging dock. It looks mighty thin. I'm not, I doubt that this is a what you call the battery charging type of a thing, where it has the power bank inside of it. Nah, sounds like empty, hollow plastic, but you can set this on it and charge it. So you have a portable wire to take along charging, and then that can be your by the bed stand at night type of a charging, and it's magnetically coupled as well. Not as strong, but it hooks in there. Looks like we got our sensors over here, so we'll see that when we turn it on too. I guess let's charge it up and turn it on. There's a camera. There's a camera at the top. Really interesting design, the Panda. Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot the manual, and especially on this one, since it's got so many different features going for it. Let's make sure we got the English side, and it goes, wow, 13, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. Okay, yeah. It's starting on page 13 with English, and it's going across. So we're going to freeze frame it for you here and here. Watch charging. Crown functions. Interesting. This is really a bit different than what I've been used to reviewing for Android watches, just in the hardware alone. So it'll be interesting to see what differences there are in the software too. Okay, and then we pick up down here on page 20. Looks like mostly just tiny text, which I hope is readable on your 85-inch TV there without having to get too close. App download and connect. Now all of them I know are using basically the same process for doing the tethering connection. And it's Rogbid. Here we go. One side button, press and hold, give it a moment, waiting. No vibration, but it says Rogbid as it begins to boot up. Now, while that's happening, I want to call your attention to this chart here. There are two completely different versions of this watch. We've got the Panda Pro, and that is the 4GB, 64GB, but there's a 332. But notice they're using completely, that's how loud it is, good and loud speaker on it. Two completely different processors in here. We've got, everything is the same supposedly, and the cameras. Battery, look at this. The battery is much smaller in the same size case on the regular Panda than the Panda Pro, which is 1600 milliamp hours. Also, the regular Panda is on Android 7.1.1, Android 10 on this one. Everything else is the same. Bluetooth version 5 supposedly in the upgrade. And metal and PC configuration of the case. Everything else is basically the same, including the waterproofing, they say IP68. So really there should be two watches here under review, but this is going to be the one we're looking at. I'm not going to be able to get two of them from these guys. So we'll take a look at the Pro, but be aware you could, for less money, get a less configured watch. Now, are we ready? We're inside the watch, and I gotta tell you, honestly, the heyday of Android smartwatches has passed. We have regressed from the solid stainless steel bodies and backing to these plastic. They aren't even carbon fiber anymore, just plastic with a metal panel holding the SIM card slot in here. We have shrunk the screen but increased the body. Look at this. That's the actual screen right there. And yeah, it's a what they say it is, 1.67-inch screen inside of a huge, huge case. So I don't know, it's not at all like some of the larger watches we've seen where the case itself is large. We'll compare them side by side toward the end of the video. There's a lot more I'm going to get into, how it does not match up with the specs, but we'll cover that in a moment. For those of you got to move on, I'm not recommending this one for several reasons, unless you really want a waterproof watch, and I can't yet confirm that. At the end of the video, we'll be dropping it in water to really find out. But other things in here, they're just not matching up. Let's go. Pull down, like any Android smartwatch, you've got this panel. Now, 2.5 hours ago, 10, 9, 8, about 8:30, I started at 100%. That tells you anything. 1600 milliamp hour battery. Yes, I've been trying to get GPS to work. Yes, I've been trying to get position, location, and weather and all those other kind of things to work. Yes, I actually was using some of the dive apps and the walking app. So yeah, there's been some GPS usage, but we are 1/3 down in 2.5 hours. No, hour and a half, 8:30, 9:30, 10, hour and a half. So 1.5, 3, 4.5. The watch should last about 4.5 hours on a 1600 milliamp hour battery, heavily loaded with GPS. I'm not going to make any comments. Use your own deduction. Here's all the different controls. You've seen all that before. I'm at half brightness. One thing I don't like, this implementation on this watch of Android 10 with this firmware, you only have 3 settings for brightness. There's tiny dim, there's halfway up, and there's full bright. Now, of course, you could try putting on a secondary brightness control like the brightness slider you've seen, display brightness, which we have. It's not in the Play Store anymore, but we have it available. Check the show notes at the very bottom. You can head over to our place and download that. And then you have an infinite slider that you can put on the side. But stock, you only have 3 levels. We got GPS, we got Bluetooth on, we've got Wi-Fi on, and this is your twist your wrist to see the time. Airplane mode, cellular data if you have a SIM card in there. And that's it. You just got these 2 panels now. Right. When we go this way, you get notifications pushed from your phone. However, let's talk about the first anomaly when it comes to that. We're not using WII Watch 2, which it talked about in the manual. If you go back a little bit, I just double-checked it. They say your tethering app is WiWatch 2 or WeWatch 2. It's not. It won't pair to that. It's pairing to the new Gowfit. Gowfit is an app mostly focused on fitness, of which there is really none in this watch. So notifications and things, yeah, it's a work in progress on that particular app. All that about that one little panel there. You're getting a lot. Come down, or come up, you've got your step count. That's working. The pedometer's working. I did some workout, like I said, this morning in this hour and a half. Come over here, I've got a music player, and I can kind of demo the quality of the speaker in here because I'm not going to be putting a SIM card and doing phone calls and all that. But just to give you an idea what things would sound like, I've installed some music to the memory. That's full volume. You can control the volume here, which is nice. Check this out. Instant mute. I do like that feature. If this is on your arm and something's coming in, you want to mute it real quick, a call or noise or whatever, just cover the speaker. In an easy, convenient way right there. Okay, so happy with the audio. It's good and loud. The speaker's in the right place, and that works nicely. And here we go with the weather report. Now, I don't have to cover up my location like I usually do, but I'm not in Studio City. I'm waiting for that call. Mr. Tix, we want to put you on the air. We want to make movies. You could be the voice of the next animation or one of the superheroes, but I'm not in Studio City, darn. But it does show you how the weather works. 15 centigrade, 59 Fahrenheit. Here's forecast for the area, and why in the world, since GPS finally hooked up to show my location on Google Maps, and that's correct, why am I getting Studio City for my location for the weather? Very interesting. Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi. Maybe it picked it up from my router. Shouldn't have, because all the other watches show my current location when it's just coming from Wi-Fi. Yet another check mark that turns into an X. Okay, and that's all. That's it. Weather, music, and step count, notifications, and these two panels, right? Two things left. One, your app drawer, and two, your activities. Did you notice it said it had over 20 different activities that we could do? And I was going, wow, that's amazing. They've increased so many. No, they added mountaineer and skiing. Everything ended in the older ones, all the other Android fitness apps with rope skipping. You want to count those up, see if you get 20? Okay. If you want to add in there diving, there's an app I'm going to show you for diving, so you can add one more. I don't quite see 20. Check mark, X. The specs are just not lining up, folks. Phone contacts, SMS would apply to the SIM card put in the car, in the phone, in the watch, sorry. This is a strictly SMS-capable watch. It does not have Bluetooth calling support. None of the new ones do. That's why I say we've hit our heyday of Android watches when you could do Bluetooth calling and they were solid metal and it was just gorgeous about 5 years ago. Going downhill pretty much ever since, in my estimation. No Bluetooth calling on this or any Android watch. Watch face store, same as on the watch faces. You press and hold and go to the end and hit the plus mark and you'll see watch faces available. We'll get to that later. Settings I want to come back to. Desktop settings are basically your dial selection of the stock installed watch faces, not from the watch face store. So you can get to those from here as well. Basic menu style, layout, and you have these options, this kind of curved look, this straight up and down look, no words but just 3 icons per row, and then the clock with the icons around in a circle. That's standard. We've seen all that stuff before. Sorry if I'm boring some of you guys. I'm going to go back to this one. We've got... that was your desktop settings, and that was your menu style. And then there's the switch styles. I'm not going to get into, but there's a lot of them. So when you scroll, it'll either go flat, or it'll fade out, or it'll look like a book turning or something. Basic browser in here. Camera and gallery. Shall we jump into this? Before I launch into the camera, let's go into the gallery. I've taken some pictures and some videos to show you, and I want to get in here and start with the first picture. Now, the cool thing is the camera's on the top, so it's really nice to hold it on your wrist, pointed the right direction, just aim it and take a picture. And this is over my railing outside, looking out into the forest. I can double tap and zoom again, and I can pinch and zoom. Pretty darn nicely for a 13 megapixel camera, right? Let's do the math. Come back here, tap here, go into details. This picture is 1920 by 2560. How good are you at multiplication? I hope you can measure that and calculate out that it's 5 million pixels. The 13 plus megapixel side camera, yeah, 5 megapixels. But wait, there's more. Let's get out of here. Let's come back over. Let's take a look at the video clip first and details on that. It's maxing out at, where is it here? Wow, it's saying unknown and unknown. It gave me the measurements. Let's play it first then.
This is a sample of a small video recording to demonstrate the quality, clarity, and audio level for recording video.
Now, I can't find a way to zoom. Oh, now I can. I could zoom it in. Wow, I couldn't do that before. Do we have our measurements yet? Details? No. Well, I'll tell you. It's 1920 by 1080. It's FHD, full HD. Let's try playing it now. Nope, it's going back to the same thing, and double tapping just pauses it. So it's always going to be in this orientation, not landscape, not sideways like this, like you'd like to have for taking pictures this way. None of the cameras do that, I know, not just this one. They mount the camera module vertical, so like on your phone, you're going to be taking vertical pictures. If you want to take a sideways picture like this, you literally have to turn your arm sideways and shoot out that way and turn this way to look at, yeah. You can get used to it, but it's kind of a pain. Okay. Let's just let it in, and then we'll get bail out of it. Because I want to stay in here. To heck with it. There. There. Okay, now I'm in a different picture. This is a picture taken with the front-facing camera, and I'm in gallery. What's it supposed to be? 8 megapixels, right? Let's multiply it out, gang. 1080 times 1440 comes up to 1.5 megapixels. 1.5. Now, sometimes the modules are even smaller, and they do a thing called up interpolation, so it's possible the module could be something like 0.3 or 0.8 and multiplied up to 1.5. But there's no way on God's green earth, and that is God's green earth you're looking at, that this is 8 megapixels. Nonetheless, you get some decent quality out of it. Okay, so you can live with it, right? It's just that the specs aren't right. In fact, right from their own advertising, it looks like this. Which brings me to the camera, because I want you guys to pay perfect attention, close attention to how these things look like in controlling the camera. Oh yeah, we wanted to play a video first. Here's Mr. Tix walking around.
The front-facing camera is like really, really close up. I can't push my arm further away from me, so you're going to see just your head and face when you record video with the front-facing camera.
Ta-da! So how big is that thing? And it's saying unknown again. What it is 720 by something or other, 12 something or other. It's regular HD, not FHD. And that's going to be your overall video size, which is okay and reasonable, I suppose, if you're going to be showing it on television and stuff. And that is not letting me leave. There we go. We're coming back out here and out to the gallery. So that's the two different cameras. That's the output that you get. Now the input, come into camera, and that's live on the top right here. And that would be like this one right here, okay? And you see the controls are down here. Over here is where you press this to switch between picture and video. There's picture. And you get kind of a focusing wheel. And this one is where you can switch camera or set some controls for a timer and stuff like that, more options. And we are looking out this way. So it doesn't look like this at all. Your record or take picture, video, or camera are hidden under that button there. Now, how about the front-facing one? Let's flip over there. And here I am, pretty close up. Now, if you've seen this channel before, that's about the size my face is on the watch when I'm holding it at about this distance. So when I showed you the video clip about how close it is to me and just shows my head, it's not one of those wide-angle kind of lenses that you can get 2 or 3 people in with you while you're doing your video chatting or whatever. Don't blame this watch, just blame the camera module, because they're all pretty much the same. Here it even shows a much smaller, she must be holding it on a stick, not on her arm, to be able to push it that far away, because honestly, you're going to be much closer. But check it out. There's a phone down here and a speaker and a microphone. My guess is this is a picture taken of a Google Duo or Meet or Hangouts or some other kind of a video call, which you can do if you install those apps. Make sure you're on Wi-Fi and activate them, because they do interface correctly with the camera. But it's not like what you're seeing here for taking pictures. Again, it's the same layout, video or camera here, and this is letting you switch back to the outdoor. Notice the flickering I'm getting? That's weird. Okay, it's supposed to switch. Well, it's not even doing that, or I'm not hitting it right. There we go, back camera. And now they call it back camera, but it's top camera and not side camera. The forward camera is right there, and that means that when you move your hand over it to do something, when it's forward facing, it's going to get in the way. I prefer it over here. If you're right-handed and you have this on your left arm, then as you're moving in to touch the watch, you don't cover the camera. But there's only one, the old Genesis, which isn't even made anymore, that had the camera properly on this side facing forward. All right, that's enough of cameras. It is not 13 megapixel and 8 megapixel. It is maximum 5 megapixel, maximum 1.5 megapixel camera. Moving on, we've got a basic calendar in here. We do have heart rate, but on most of the newer watches, Android watches that use the Gowfit app, you also, in addition to heart rate, have blood oxygen with red sensors on the back, not this one. You have sleep, not this one. That sleep app isn't in here, and I don't believe you can add a third-party one like it in here to monitor your sleep, and certainly not tethered to the app. There's a whole bunch of other things that you just don't have, and they don't show up in the Gowfit when you tether it either. But you do have heart rate. You've got alarm clock settings. There's the music player. Here's a little voice recorder. I can come in here and, hi everybody, we're testing the voice recorder, and look at this. You remember what the power level was when we started? It's dropped to 58%. I think it was at about 2/3. Oh well. Stop it. Give it a check mark. Give it a check mark. Saved successfully. Play it.
Hi everybody, we're testing the voice recorder, and look at this. You remember what the power level was when we started? It's dropped to 58%. I think it was at about 2/3. Oh well.
Yeah, oh well. File manager, where you can see what you've got in here. It's 64 gigabytes of storage. This is the, this is the Pro version of it, right? We have all your, boy, it's sensitive. We have all your different folders. Here's your clock skin folder for those of you who know how to install third-party watch faces. You can definitely do it here. We've got lots and lots of videos about that. Downloads, movies, music. Here's the music files we were listening to. Not sure where it puts the audio recordings, but voice record right down there. And there it is. And you can play it right from there. Change the volume, all of that stuff. So you have access to your files here as well, as you usually do. The weather, it should be updated from here. If it doesn't update directly from when you looked at it by swiping up, go into the weather app, make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi and GPS is on, and see if you end up in Studio City right along with me. Optimization, good to know at least one thing in here. That's this clean task. If you've installed third-party apps and they need to run in the background, you want to come in here, you want to tap this button, they'll be listed here. You want to make sure they are turned off so they're not optimized for you erroneously. A lot of people run into that problem. That's why I highlight that. You can do screen lock on here and face unlock because it has a forward-facing camera. Big word of warning, you have to do some sort of a pattern or pin number lock. You have to do a screen lock before you can do a face unlock. And some people just do it so they can get the face unlock working. Yeah, that's great. If you forget it, you're not going to be able to get into this watch. You're literally going to have to flash the firmware to the watch. All of these Android watches, you have to literally flash the firmware in order to break into your watch, unless you can guess the pattern or the number. So make sure if you're using screen lock, you remember what you set, even if you're not going to use it and plan on using face unlock. System work mode, app freeze, all this is covered before. The App Store is sort of like the Play Store, but just for some simple apps like this calculator and stopwatch. I've already installed those here. WhatsApp you can install, Facebook you can install, just a very, very few. Fitness, you ready? Okay, fitness is the same as what you get to if you come over here, except this just allows you to start things. Here, you get there, it looks similar in this watch, but you also have two other tabs. One that shows you your history, and another one that you make sure you go over here and turn on the use positioning. Also make sure GPS is turned on from when you swipe down at the beginning. Both those need to be activated for it to actually use GPS for walking, running, cycling, and that kind of stuff. I can come in here, show you my history, okay, of this last walk that I did, outdoor walk, and I can show you my historical track, which does show my location. Now I've zoomed way in. My house is right in the middle, and you can kind of see the outline of it. And its GPS is kind of jumping all over the place, but not too radically. It's within, I'd say, 100-foot circle. So if you don't need super accuracy, you'll be able to get a track for your overall activity, which should result in a better distance reading calculation on here. Now, word of warning. Also notice it's not fully translated from Chinese yet. Word of warning on this. This is the only place this record exists. 1, you cannot transfer it to the Gowfit app. Not possible. And 2, if you if you disconnect or unbind this watch from the Gowfit app while they're connected together, the Gowfit app will send a factory restore signal to the watch and erase everything on your watch, just like it's factory brand new. So if you need this information, get a pencil and paper and write it down, or use your camera and take a picture, because you don't get it any other way. See what I mean about how Android watches have regressed over time, not improved? You have walking and indoor running and biking. You have basketball, football, ping pong, badminton, jump rope. There's new mountaineering and skiing, and that's it. You don't have 20-plus activities here. Google Play Store, Maps, all that's Google. These are new. The barometer, now I don't know how it's doing this, if it's got a sensor inside. The relative height has been bouncing all around. It went up to 15 meters, down now to 8. Not sure what that would affect your diving, where every meter counts. Come over here, that's the pressure currently in millibars, is that it? Sorry, I don't know my pressures. And this is the relative height. I can reset it to where this is 0, and it'll give me the deviation from here going up or down. And I don't use it. Those of you who might use it might check it to see how accurate it is. Basic Google. Now, this is the dive. This is interesting. You have an outdoor or an indoor diving. When's the last time you went indoor diving? No, not for the worm in the bottom of the tequila bottle, not for the apple floating in the bobbing for apples bin, but actually indoor diving. I think what that does, well, let's just look at it. It starts everything without invoking GPS. But if you're going to outdoor dive, you want to know where you are. So you tap that and it'll start looking for GPS. I waited for 30 minutes or so to try to acquire GPS with this dive app. Even though it would work with my walking, you saw my track from walking, it locked up GPS there. Afterwards, I tried this and it would never lock up GPS. I can't get anything accurate unless I can get GPS in terms of where my track is. When I go in here, I get my heart rate, the current air pressure. I'm not sure what this will do underwater. We're going to find out. And then your depth in meters, not in millimeters or centimeters, but in full meters. And the time, I like the fact that it shows you the time. We'll come back and explore this more. Overall Assistant now, this is where you connect to the phone. You get this QR code unique to this watch. You pair it with the Gowfit app. We'll show you the app in a minute. And then when you've done that, you can do remote capturing, music control, and find your device. And that's all. Those are the only remote activities that you've got. Here's the downloaded free calculator, flashlight, and stopwatch. And you can, of course, add any Google app you want to from the Google Play Store, or you can sideload it by connecting the wire to your computer, just like you can load up watch faces and such. Let's jump back in here to settings and walk through that a little bit. There's quite a few of them. I'm not going to go into everything, but we'll just take a quick look. You've got your Wi-Fi. You set it up, of course, one of the first things you want to do. And you've got data usage. And this is kind of fun because it'll tell you the date range and how many megabytes of Wi-Fi data you've used here. Here's your hotspot and tethering. And, of course, you can go into airplane mode from here or from the home screen, swiping down and activating one of the buttons up there. You got connected devices, and this is where you'll see where you're connected to up above, and of course you can see all things Bluetooth that are available, and it shows you that it's visible to other devices like your earbuds or whatever as Panda Pro if you want to use that. Apps and notifications. This has really changed a lot as the new versions of Android have come out. Just to let you know, you can adjust which apps are default, just like you do on your phone. Your permission manager, which you'll probably use quite a bit, and special apps that have unrestricted data capability, like your phone for incoming phone calls, things of that nature. Overall battery now shows you your charge level, apps that are running normally. Your battery saver can be turned on there. Here's battery usage. And I've just charged it up, guys, so I don't have a lot of usage to show you. And battery manager, you can have it detect when apps are draining the battery and what to do when that happens. So there's actually a lot of different battery management options, and it's a good idea to practice with them and learn what they do. Overall display, you got your brightness level on a slider. So if you want to adjust it more than just the three notches that you have in the capabilities from the screen on the top, you can actually come in here to brightness and use a slider. And I did mention you can also use a thing called display brightness, which is an app. You've seen me have a little slider on the side, even over the watch face, that you can adjust brightness. Not in the Google Play Store, but go to tinyurl.com/Android watches. Look for display brightness, and you can sideload that in here. Night light, this is that thing that's going to turn your screen kind of a beige color at night, brown, so that it's soft on your eyes, and you can set a time schedule for that. Screen timeout, as low as 15 seconds and as high as 30 minutes. We've got your twist your wrist to see the time. Notification bright screen will light it up if you get a notification that comes in if you activate that. In sound, there's a bunch of options now. Your volume levels, vibrate for all these things. Calls, vibrate when silent. So if you're in silent mode but still want to know, like if you're at a meeting, it can be set to vibrate. You can use the power button to end a phone call. Turn that on or off. Of course, you've got do not disturb capabilities, and you can set all that up and then change your ringtones. But then you get down here. This is the dial pad tones. I recommend that be turned off. You don't want some machine monitoring what the sounds are coming out of your watch if you're making a phone call, right? And of course, your power on, power off sounds, the boot up sounds, they're fun to listen to the first time or two, but generally it's good to have them off because you never know if you need to turn the watch off because you walked into a quiet place only to have it make a whole bunch of noise and shutting down, right? Your storage, in this case, this device has got the 64 gig because it's the Panda Pro. I've got a lot of space left. I've only used 16%, and it shows you what percentage is used for each, or how many gigabytes are used for each thing, including at the bottom, 8.3 gig is used for the overall system of your 64. So your available is, well, whatever that subtracts out to be. Location services, I have it turned off. You can turn it on. You can see all of the apps that are using it. You can have it Wi-Fi and Bluetooth scan to locate where you are. Locations using sources and so forth. This is everything that you see when you do this on your phone. So nothing really new here. Google services, system, which is where you get into your language. Now, in the languages, you've got your keyboards, and it says it's using the virtual keyboard. I'm going to click on here, and you have access to this keyboard and Google Voice typing. You want to turn this off, make sure that, or activate it, make sure it's turned on, and of course you could set it up however you want to. Sometimes that's not available, and so you have to hit Manage Keyboards and turn Google Voice typing on. In this case, it's on. I don't remember if I turned it on myself or if it came that way, but if you're not seeing the microphone on the keyboard when you bring it up, make sure you come in here and activate that. You did that by hitting Manage Keyboards after you went into Virtual Keyboard under the keyboard tabs. Then Tools, there's your spell checker, and you can add words and do things like that to there. Here's your date and time that you can set for your time zone, and your reset options are available as well. Remember, when I talk about doing a factory restore, which I recommend you do when you first get the watch, you want to hit erase all data for factory reset. Also, of note, when you're tethered to the Gowfit app, I know, I've said this over and over, but you really need to know this. If you are connected to that app on your phone and you disconnect or unbind the watch from the phone will send on its parting shot a scorched earth command. It will send the erase all data command to the watch and reset the watch to factory default. If that's not what you wanted, because you've loaded it with music and watch faces and all kinds of stuff, make sure the watch is off and not anywhere connected to the phone when you unbind the watch from the Gowfit app. You can indeed unbind it, but unbind it when it's not paired. Ooh. It bit me in the you-know-where the first time I did that, and that's why I'm harping on it. I was really ticked off. Wireless update is where you go in to check to see if you have an update. And again, watch the video on the proper way to set up a brand new Android watch. This is one of the steps. It automatically checked. If it doesn't, hit the check for updates, and it'll take care of it from there. Then you've got other stuff in here. I think I got... numbers that I don't want to be showing you, and then I'll go all the way down here to your build number. This is the firmware, and this is what would be updated, and it shows you right now we're running a December 30th, 2021 version 1.2 of the firmware for the Panda. And that's the overall settings. Now, I am going to talk about heart rate, but we're going to do that in context of this dive thing, I think. Let's see, barometer dive. Okay, I'm coming into dive. Notice the green light is just flashing away. I'm going to put this on my arm for a moment. Bear with me. I know these reviews are really long, but there's so much to cover, and I guarantee you're not going to find this anywhere else to this level of depth. I want to focus on heart rate here. It's that's a power level. Dang, we're down to 52%. Okay. Here's the heart rate, 55. I've got the, what the heck is this? The Fitbit Sense on here right now. Now, I was just out walking around a little bit and getting my heart rate up, so I'm pumping up at about 100. This is saying I'm at 57, 58, 56. I'm dropping down a little bit there, 95. So this is the heart rate reading that does not correlate anywhere close to the one that's on the Fitbit Sense. So to get it more accurate, I should just simply take it off and take the pulse rate of the surface here, right? Any good watch is going to give you an error, just stop recording or whatever. It's certainly not going to give you the same heart rate that it said you had on your arm, but this one does. The heart rate is inaccurate, not just here in the Dive app, but in any of the things when you're doing your fitness exercise, all of that, where it's relying on heart rate, the pulse is not anywhere close to what you're actually doing. With that said, it's about time to switch over to the app and show you a couple of things here in the Gowfit app. And again, from the Google Play Store, you're looking for Gowfit. Y-Watch, W-I-I Watch 2, E-Watch 2 does not tether with this watch, even though all the instructions say. They've switched it over now to this one. Here I am in my opening screen. I used that QR code, I scanned it, I got connected, and it shows the Panda Pro, which tells you that, yeah, they have now switched over to using this app for tethering. You only have 3 cards in here. Some of the others you've seen that we've done, the APP LLP line, have multiple cards with other things. All you've got here is heart rate, and you can initiate a heart rate directly from here if you want to. Right now I've got it running in this mode. Minimum, maximum, average are listed here. You can set a limit reminder. That's all part of this app now. You've got your step count. There they are for this day. This is the daily total and how many steps you've acquired. and weight, which is something that you would put in manually somewhere. The watch doesn't weigh you. So you really only have 2 biometric data being monitored by this particular watch. Here's your store where you can download different watch faces, the same as what you would do on here. And here's about, where you have basic information about the app itself. Come over here, tap here. Here's where you can set up your notices, twist your wrist to see the time, but you can activate that from here. Find the device, which, if I turn that on, it's beeping like an old Casio watch. You hear that? Auxiliary input. This is the one thing that's been carried over from the WeWatch 2 app that lets you type on your keyboard here, and it will transfer it to the entry here in your browser or whatever, so you don't have to use the tiny keyboard on the watch. By the way, make sure you watch the review on the, I believe it was the APP LLP 7, about how to set the keyboard up so that you can activate voice control on it. Yeah, you need to know that. Unit, switch, and unbind. Folks, if I touch unbind, it'll factory restore this watch because it is indicating that it is paired with it. If you unpair it, turn this off or whatever, and unbind, it will unbind the app from the watch and it won't reset the watch. Just a big important thing to know. Okay. That's the app. I want to find out whether or not it's going to continue being Bluetooth tethered underwater. And that's where we're going to go next. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to take the watch. I'm going to take off the bands because we are going to go into a deep dive tank. Are you ready for this? I want to bail out of here and come over to our stopwatch. And we're going to start the stopwatch and check it out. Now, places water could get in. The speaker holes, obviously. The back and the seal around here, I have not taken the back off. I'm not going to cause the integrity to be poor and blame it on the watch. So I haven't touched that. But be careful if you open it to put a SIM card in. Somewhere there's a microphone hole on this one. And sometimes there's a pressure relief hole, maybe right there. Right there. There's a couple of places. That helps the speaker so it doesn't like get all freaked out when you change altitude. One of these is probably for your barometric pressure as well, too. I wish I could have a stopwatch on all of those, but I can't. So I'm going to bring over this really tall, I think it's a vase. One of Mrs. Tick's vases. And I'm going to drop this thing in here. We're going to start the stopwatch. There it goes. I've got a straw so I can level it out if I need to. Oh, good. It went straight down in. And there it is. You should be able to see the stopwatch running down there if I stay real still. Okay, 22 seconds or so. We'll be back after a half an hour. We're going to give it a 30-minute dunk. Okay, we're about a minute away. I wanted to let you know that we are submerged in 9 inches of water. That's what it measures out to be. And just to make sure that I'm not just playing with you with it being static, I'm going to stir it up a little bit. So we're going to put the straw in here. We're going to stir the watch face. Well, the whole watch. Not push the buttons, mind you. Wow, what's all that stuff in the water? Ew. I guess it's like pond water, huh? Now, we want to try to bring this puppy up. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, I don't think, with the straw. So I'm going to run over to the sink and dump this out and come right back. Here we are. Still running. I guess it's in the auto mode. I'm not sure. We're going to dry it off. Not push the button yet. Get it nice and dry around the button. Okay, it's still running. It's in the twist your wrist to see the time. Before it was like always on. That's odd. Let's press the button now. Button press. Whoa, it bailed right out of it. Still going. Oh, that's cool. It can actually run in the background. Let's go into dive. Where's dive? Dive, dive. Okay, outdoor diving. That's still working. So far, everything looks like it's working. I don't see any water vapor. Check the show notes. I will list there if this thing fails over time. We've just dunked it and dried it. Sometimes it can get water vapor in and it doesn't die right away, but it will die over in the next few days. So if it does fail, I'll have a big notice in the show notes that it failed because of water intrusion. But for right now, it's looking good. I mean, it didn't just catastrophically die. There doesn't seem to be water in there. Okay, and it's working. But look, it's dropped to 35%. Still looking for GPS. So it's got a few things going on with it. It is also still, and I think you noticed over here, while it was underwater, it was still Bluetooth tethered. So the Bluetooth signal worked fine. All right, let's wrap up. Once again, the Panda comes in two flavors, Basic and Pro from ROGBID. This is the Pro we've been reviewing, and these are the higher-end specs that they profess to carry with them. We've looked at all kinds of things from GPS to waterproofing to cameras. A reminder, the cameras are not what they seem to be. I'm going to put the pictures you just saw in our special folder, tinyurl.com/AndroidWatches. Go in there, look for the folder that has watch pictures, look for Panda, and you can download and look at the pictures and the video clips that I shot with this watch, and just check them out for yourself if the quality's good enough to go with a 5 megapixel camera and a 1.5 megapixel front camera rather than the 13 and 8 that they talk about. It's an interesting watch. It's really, really huge, and compared to the other large watches, you can see that the screen is much, much smaller than the screen like on the Prime 2, Cospet Prime 2. For about the same size body, the Prime 2 is still a bit bigger, but about the same thickness. Well, the Panda's a little thicker on, yeah. Anyway, there's a quick comparison, and it just shows you that we're using a standard Android screen with a really big bezel and case around it, as opposed to the newest technology, large screen watches. For those of you wanting to see the watch faces, we'll take a last look at that while I remind you that you can pick this puppy up from Banggood. I got a link in the show notes down below that you can use to buy it, and we should have a coupon discount available for you as well. They come in and out of coupons, so make sure you always check our coupon link to see what, this is a fun one, to see what coupons are applicable at the time to all the different watches we've reviewed. You got Roman numerals, you've got numbers, you've got the 24-hour clock, so you got everything on this one. And there's a whole bunch more of the stock watch faces. Many of them we've seen already. And then, of course, you can add custom ones like the Panda one you saw. That's available from their special store. Yeah, they've really put a good variety in this one. That's the one I just downloaded, the Panda. Here's another fun one here that almost makes the watch look really that big, doesn't it? With the gray kind of going into the black. Yeah, if you want to wear a watch that looks like it's got that huge watch face, that's one I'd like to do it with. Alrighty, gang. I think we've seen enough. I think we've talked enough. Again, Banggood's the source of this one. Really appreciate them sending it out. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.